Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Inside the Mayhem. That's right, it's time for another edition of our behind-the-scenes show of what happens with the Moonlight Race League Monday Mayhem Cup Series. I'm your host, Mean Gene Money. I've got my partner, Zach Panzarella here, and we're talking about playoffs. That's right, it's playoff time as the boys take it to Phoenix Raceway to determine who will be the Final Four as they will go to Vegas next week. Points are up after last week's race at Nashville. There was no playoff driver who won at Nashville. Instead, it's all about the points. Now, of course, Tony Iverson, he won at Michigan in the first race of the round of 8. No playoff driver winning last week. And then today, of course, the Phoenix race. So no better person to bring in to talk about today and the playoffs than Tony Iverson. Hey, Tony, how you doing?
Hey, what's up, Mean Gene?
Now, I tell you what, the pressure had to be off going into the race today. You got your golden ticket to the Final Four. What was your logic heading into this race here today?
I was just looking to have some fun. I drove back from Vegas earlier today, so I'd already had 7-8 hours under my belt driving. So I was happy to get here in time to race and was just looking to have a good time.
Oh, you're going to Vegas. What are you walking the track already? That's not fair. You can't. I've heard of ignoring the other races, but that's really taking it to an extreme. So, Tony, if you'd be so kind, how about you join us here as we look at some of the race action here today, and you know, if there are any cautions, we'll take a look. So here's your initial go. Of course, field of 19 here today. Lots of drivers looking for playoffs. Biggest deal, of course, is that battle between Joe Vulpes and Matt Novella. Those guys so tight in the playoffs. Vulpes with the 8-point lead on the cut line to Novella. Behind them, Sean Walton in a must-win. Kevin Kyle in a must-win as well. So we'll keep an eye on those fellas as we go. Smooth sailing here at the beginning, wouldn't you say? How were the track conditions today, Tony?
She was a bit slippery, a little more so than what I think everybody expected, but at the same time, the track has a tendency to get treacherous sometimes. So no, definitely a little warm.
And look at you boys. You don't mind, though. It's not warm enough where you're worried about cutting it down on that dog leg, though, of course. Everybody loves to go below that apron. If you're on the inside, gets a little treacherous if you're the outside car. So here's early run, of course. Everybody just falling into position. Where were you about this stage?
I was just trying to hang out around the top 5 and not really disturb anybody who was, racing for a little bit more than I was. That was kind of the goal today, and I didn't want to let anybody, shove around any teammates of mine. That was pretty much all I was up there for.
Now, of course, talking about high side hustlers, your teammates, David Owens, also at the top of the points standings, and then Eric Thornton, part-time driver this year, but Eric has been fast all this entire playoffs. Buddy Sully, the 4th member of the team, but unfortunately, he is running part-time as well. Not here tonight because of a tornado situation, again, for him. So here's a great thing. You can see Owens there. There's Jay Stinson, and then Season 2 champion Jack Sanders. What do you think? You're in the car. You're one of these boys. It's smooth sailing at this point, right?
In the beginning of the race, I felt like I was just trying to kind of feel it out, but there was a lot of aggression, too, going on.
Yeah, stakes are high, of course. No, look at this. The position there of Sanders looks like he just stole the air out of Stinson. Is that a common factor there, or do you think maybe that front bumper helped?
It looked like he could have been getting sideways before there was contact. The car gets really light right there. So yeah, I mean, I'd have to see a better angle on it, but I would say that he was a little loose before contact.
Well, if I gave you a better angle, that would mean you'd have a clean answer. I'm not looking for the clean answer. I'm looking for the answer I can put up on the chalkboard in the team meeting next week there for Jay Stinson's team. So Jay takes it for a spin there early on lap 14. That's going to give us a restart. And restarts are where it got a little bit spicy here today. There's Kevin Kyle up at the front now. Kevin, on this restart here, I think lap 17 is where they finally got going again. Kevin is one of those drivers must win. He was pretty quick at the beginning of this race, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, I heard him in the interview. He had found some speed in the car and was really looking for a good result today to try to make his way into the Final Four on a win. I believe is pretty much what he needed.
Ooh, and then this goes on, and look at how many people get collected. You're one of them, aren't you? Look at the looky.
Oh yeah, that wreck. I saw it happening, and everything seemed really high up. So I tried to go underneath all of it. I don't really know fully what caused it, but I tried to go underneath, and it looked like somebody right above me had the same idea, and we both went jackknifed into the wall there.
Yeah, big wreck right there. Playoff drivers, Tony Iverson, part of that wreck. You can see the 53 of Bollinger. Matt Novella also involved. And that's going to bring us to another restart. Lap 21. Oh, this is the same wreck? Oh, yeah. And look at Novella come down.
I was going to make it through that. Novella would have kept it together. Come on, Novella.
Well, I mean, he had more to race for. So, you're just thinking, damn, that's bad. Whereas he's thinking, I need to win.
Yeah, that got rid of my fast repairs. So,
all right. So here we go. Boys are going to restart. You can see Kevin Kyle still on the front. Alex Hillman up there as well. Sean Walton now moving up into the second row. Sean Walton, of course, that number 23 Toyota. He's one of those Mo Power teammates. He needs a win, basically. Kyle slamming it down. Look at how aggressive you guys were on those restarts. I guess there was no bad time to go down there.
Yeah, no. With the restarts, you know, this track tends to string out in a single file, and you want to gain as many spots as you can on these restarts, and everybody was really showing that aggression every time the green flag waved.
And especially depending on where people's brake zones were, you could see so many times cars just draw side by side, and then others will just zip on by depending on how fast they're willing to go in. And tire wear, I mean, if you're trying to save tires, the other guy could choose not to for a moment. Look here, Walton racing Kyle, two drivers desperate for a victory, then going there on the outside. You can see them sandwiched in the MC Motorsports boys as well. And there it is.
Oh, my God. Oh,
and then Kyle gets a little bit more ramrod. And here it comes, the finale. John Beverly coming up close, and Beverly says, hey, you got a mosquito on your tailpipe. And look at Medina over there. Medina is literally inside Hunter Hall.
Oh my gosh! I did not.
A lot of intimacy. A lot of intimacy. So that one really bad. Luckily, as you said before, there are fast repairs here today. But that was an instance right there. Kevin Kyle on the inside of the 23 of Walton. Kyle was going to stay above that dog leg, and I think that Walton, he wanted to go below it, and that made those two cars come together. It can be tough if you're not on the three screens, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, no, this track has so many lanes and so many different lines, especially through 3 and 4, or 1 and 2. I'm sorry. And yeah, I mean, everybody has a different approach to 1 and 2, and I think 3 screens really helps out. You'll have guys bring it down to the apron. Some guys will try to rip the top. I prefer to keep it right at that first seam, and then try to maybe come down for the exit if I have enough rubber to do so. Like, I don't know. Everybody's got their own way of doing this track.
Well, luckily for you, even if they take you out of your rhythm, you're locked in for Vegas next weekend. And now we're going to go forward and see a little bit more racing. And you had to feel good. You've used your fast repair. That's not good. But with that guaranteed spot in the championship, you really had to feel good at this point in the race, right?
Yeah, no, I was achieving my goal. I was staying around the top 5. I wasn't affecting anything too negatively.
And there you are in the 13 right there. You're looking good at this point, up in the top 5.
Yeah, and then as you can see, my car is trailed a little more sideways at about this point here. And I knew it was, and I was trying to not overcorrect it. And then,
What?
yeah, then, uh, uh, just,
Wow. Yeah, that and being as he used his fast repair, that
Is he okay,
that kind
Benji?
of will end the day for there, Tony. So, Tony, what were you thinking at that point?
I died.
You straight died. So
We announced it on air.
that's taking Kill Tony one step too far. It's supposed to be an entertainment show, ladies and gentlemen. So with Tony going down right there, let's go ahead and bring in your teammate. We also, this is our second surprise guest, got David Owens here on the show today. David, are you there, man?
Yes, sir. I'm here, Mean Gene.
All right, so we've got the two full-time high-side hustler drivers here. David Owens, not locked in, but in a secure points position, especially with the small field of 18. You had to feel pretty good about your chances of advancing to Vegas going into this race, right?
I did. I felt pretty good about just coming in, just racing my race and just making sure I kept the car clean.
Yeah, really, really a big. And today, that is something to be said. Keeping the car clean, especially after we saw those two big wrecks. David, there was a period of this season and across multiple leagues where it seemed like you either won or somebody got into you. And whether that be the dog chewing through the power, the electrical cord, or technical difficulties. So it seemed like you were going to win or an outside force was going to take you out of the race. Today, it seemed like you did a really good job of avoiding those outside forces. And I asked you that earlier. I'm going to ask you for today, again, for these fans. Did you do anything different trying to avoid avoid the curse of the outside force?
Just let people go was really the key. Phoenix, again, I think I said after the post-race interview, it's not my strongest track with these next gen, so I was racing the track like I would race Darlington and just let people go. Wasn't trying to be aggressive with them. They would let them burn up tires. Just wanted to be there at the end. So that was just taking myself and just taking a step back and letting people go make their own mistakes.
And here we can see you. This is around lap 40 of our race, and you're running up high, just taking advantage of that outside lane, letting other people do the slamming down below. And speaking of slamming, right there, Jack Sanders gets hit by Hunter Hall, comes down and introduces himself to John Beverly. And now here's a wreck opportunity. Okay, there's a wreck in front of you, and some of us, we're afraid, but you know who's not? Let's go ahead and sneak back up. I think we had a T-bone in that moment as well. Look at this. Look at this thing spreading. Oh. And there it is. Not afraid to take a bite out of crime. That's Captain Crunch. There it is. So you can see Sanders gets spun. Beverly, Sanders back on the track. Louis gets him one. Little T-bone right there. That was my favorite T-bone of the day.
I couldn't even put that one on Louis, though.
No, but you know, it was just fun to watch Louis T-bone somebody.
Oh, it's always fun to watch it. Go back and look at it later on. When it's you, though, you're definitely upset. But I know some of these guys, they got to learn to hold these brakes.
Well, we had multiple wrecks at that point, you know, especially once we got into the restarts. This is lap 40, and at that point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, it's the fourth or fifth caution at that point of the race. So again, fast repairs being used. This is going to take us forward to lap 51. And here's some of that fun, aggressive driving we were talking about. Michael Mata was always pushing, trying to move forward. And then, of course, Sean Walton in a must-win situation. You can see him right there in between the two MC Motorsports teammates. And here's Walton in that dog leg, and just a little bit too much. I think we've all felt that traction before, David.
Oh, absolutely. It's one of them on the edge of your seat feelings. Because once it goes, it goes.
And then fear of him coming up, and once he tapped it right there, got back onto the track. iRacing pulled the cord and gave us the caution to avoid get everybody the chance to slow down and avoid him coming back up on the track. Walton able to keep it moving forward, and he would stay on the lead lap. But tense moment for playoff driver Sean Walton as he is trying to get into his win. A lot of those playoff drivers showed speed. Novella caught up in an early wreck, kind of faded away. But you had to think Sean Walton was still on the radar for a period of time, right, David?
Oh, absolutely. I can't count him out. He's it's one thing I can say about him. He doesn't give up easily. So you always got to worry about him being just putting himself somewhere in some sort of position. So whether he's on the lead lap or not, he's gonna race you. Um, he's like Ryan Newman Jr. sometimes.
Well, he wants to win, that is for sure. And we saw him pushing it as hard as he could that time, almost a little bit too much, managed to keep the tires under the car and able to keep that thing moving forward. All right, so that was lap 51 where we saw that caution pop out. Now we're going to move forward a little bit, and I think this is where we're going to see serious malarkey and danger, disaster, and explosions occur. Fireworks. This is a DDI driver, Hunter Hall. Now this is deep in the run, so these boys are on tires that are super old. In fact, I want to say Hunter Hall might have been running 50+ lap tires at this point, as he was on a different conservation strategy. You could see Jonathan K. Sabir right behind him as well, coming here. Yeah, they're coming into turn 1 right there. Behind him, you can see Hillman as well. All these guys, teammates. Yep. All right. So there he is. And there it is. You can see how he gets a little bit loose. And David, did you get to see this replay, bud?
I did not. Is this is what brought up the last
enjoy,
question?
bud. Yeah, enjoy, bud. It's not done, by the way.
Oh.
How'd you like to be the owner of DDI paying for that one, huh?
I don't want to be. No. Wow.
Yeah, Jay
Man.
Stinson said, "Hey, what are y'all doing?"
Can we any chance we can ride along with Alex Hillman there? I want to see that intro.
You want to see it? Have you never felt that
pure
before?
evil. That's pure evil, and I'm all here for it. Let's do it. That's hilarious. Yeah, so let's go about like this far back. Yeah. All right, here we go.
You can see when the 12 goes over the transition on the seam is when because the banking is ever so slightly different between the first seam and the second. And he starts in the second, touches the first, and that's the beginning of the end for Hunter Hall.
You can also see the moment where Hunter Hall's soul leaves his body, if you look closely.
I can't believe how long his car was on its side.
Here we go. Nothing. All right,
so this is from
here.
This is from Hillman. Here you can see Hillman gets the perfect view.
Oh man, absolutely no time to react.
None.
I hate that for him.
Oh, brutal.
Well,
yeah, that was by far the most brutal. The other one collected more people. The wreck earlier in the race collected more folks on lap 17. But that one right there on 77, just seriously detrimental. Now let's fast forward a little bit and start to look at the final moves of the race. This is where we started to see these fellas actually take effect. Now Colin Bollinger had really had a great race. This guy just had a fast car for everybody today. Yeah, David?
Oh, absolutely. Colin is one of the class acts of the field when it comes to speed. So you can never count him out. Same with Tony. Like, you got a handful of guys in here that week in and week out, just without even looking at the track, you're going to be in the top 5 with them.
Now you got a teammate though, also Eric Thornton. That's another guy, had a heck of a run. He's been so fast this entire playoffs. Not a full-time driver. But as we're watching this, sure, Colin's got that lead. He's had that lead. But then it's like the Steve Winwood music must have come on for Eric Thornton at this point.
Absolutely. Yeah, he was. I know racing with other series of other leagues. I know Phoenix has probably got to be his. It's his Phoenix to him is like Nashville to me. It's his favorite track.
And I like seeing the red on the inside of the tires now. At this point, you can see those brakes really heating up. Single file racing here. All these guys want to go faster, but it's just so hard to pass. You can see the aggression level. Walton trying to look outside and quickly Mata shutting him down. And then here's where it gets really spicy, I believe, when we see Thornton. Thornton just decides it's time to go. If he wants to win, he has to go. And he wants it bad. Look how bad he wants it. This is great.
Threading the needle through there.
And then look, some North Wilkesboro action right there.
How'd Joey do in that race, Mean Gene? That North Wilkesboro race?
No, I think he led most of those laps. I think he won $100,000.
Oh yeah, I know all about leading most of the laps and getting the participation trophy.
Hey, oh, and look at Thornton here with the lap driver.
Lap car of Jack Sanders, correct.
Brown pants moment.
This is Thornton really flexing his muscle here, really showing us that he had something.
Yeah, and he's chasing Jonathan Casebeer. Remember, Casebeer won last week. Lots of speed here today. And then Thornton, I mean, he's glowing the brake as he shoots down. What a hell of a move there by the one. Keeps the rubber under him. Ooh, Casebeer about lost it there. All right, here we go. So I think this is right after this. This is a restart. Here we go. So Swingle and Lewis in the front. They did not take tires. Everybody else had tires. Those two, though, to stay up front. And you can see how quickly they're eaten up. Once again, Bollinger, he is going to just take the lead immediately. Then Eric Thornton. There's you, David, right there. 3 wide back there with those slower tires. And then this thing, again, we've seen Colin lead for so long. And David, were you thinking we were in for a repeat?
I was hoping not, to be honest. I was like, man, just hopefully they got everything kind of settled out, and because I did not feel like trying to dodge race cars. So it was glad to see that they could race each other with, respect there.
Well, we had talked about it at that point as well. They had pretty much the same lap times, and here's the move. What do you think? You're just happy for your teammate right there? I mean, you've got a front row seat to that.
Oh, absolutely. It's great to see you have a teammate win anytime, week in or week out. So to be able to just dive it in there. Colin gave him a little bit of space, but Colin was also trying to pull to the bottom. So it was a high risk, high reward move right there. Just to make sure he threaded the needle through there without having any contact.
Yeah, Tony, you were in the booth with us while we were watching this all unfold. Before Eric made that move, you knew it was going to be tough for him to get around Colin. But did you take some solace in the knowledge, though, that they had pretty much the same lap times? And did you think Eric was going to be able to make it happen like that?
I knew that Thornton knew that if he got in front, that he was going to stay in front. And I think that that move shows it. I mean, he was driving the car with the pedals right there. When you see the way that he goes into the corner, the angle that he took, he just blasted off into there. And to be able to keep the momentum of the car going while not getting crossed up by the 53 exiting the corner, man, that was some driving. That was awesome.
No, now for the viewers at home, why don't you go ahead and explain what you mean when you say driving with the pedals? Are you talking Sammy Hagar style, where you got one foot on the brake and one on the gas? Hey,
I'm talking like you could tell he really likes this track, and he knew exactly how far he could send it. And if you look at the steering wheel, this is going into not this corner, but the next one. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about when you enter into turn 3. This is where he made that move. Look at that. Look at that. And then he follows through and exits. No wheel movement again. Like, beautiful. You can't do it much better than that. And
well, I would be in the wall.
Yeah, he's just killing it. I mean, And the other thing too is he wasn't running the exact same line every lap, which I think is also a good way to kind of mess with the guy in second place on certain tracks. Um, when I was watching the race with you guys, that was something that I was noticing, that he was cutting the dog leg every lap, but it'd be a slightly different spot. And then the way he would exit turn 2 would be a little bit different than the last time. And yeah,
and even
it was
four there, he
a
exited
clinic.
4 a lot lower that lap than the one previous. But yeah, you're so
Exactly.
right. Look
Yeah.
at that. Look at that lack of wheel input there. And
Yeah, it's all pedals.
it's so good. And like you said, yeah, and you really can't do much about that part of the corner. And then also using the wheel right there to carry you through the dog leg, to where if you come out of 4 and you're already kind of at, about 50%, you just kind of keep that straight through the dog leg. And that is a really good way also to kind of let your car be predictable, right? And this is how you drive this racetrack right here.
This is a clinic. This is exactly what you want to do. It's great.
Now you talked about messing with second place, but that's one of the stories we could look at. But what about third place? What's going on with third and fourth place at this point, Zach? Could you?
Here we are on board with Owens right here.
Yeah. So this is David's view. David, everything looks really good up there. But you had your own story for a little bit at this point in the race, didn't you, David?
I was just cruising.
Yeah. Let's pull back a little bit. Are there any cars around David at this point?
Oh, just a few.
Oh, yeah. So, David, you still had your hands full there. Again,
this is my idea of a cruise.
Yeah. My idea of a cruise is MC Motorsports and a must-win Sean Walton inches from my bumper.
Oh, yeah. Super relaxing.
Sunday drive.
Exactly.
So, yeah, here it is, Owens. Now, I remember earlier, David, you said letting people go by, right? Was that the words you used, Tony?
When I was watching this exact part of the race too, the 11 and the 16 have had run-ins throughout this entire season, going all the way back to the end of last season. So I was so nervous as from the high side hustlers point of view. We got one guy in the front, 2 guys locked in. I was like,
everyone in this shot loves each other. Everyone in this shot are huge fans of one another.
Yeah. So
that's one thing I know
David,
about that.
David, what is that? What is that? That's Bonehead and Rick Ware Racing is you're surrounded by right there.
Just all
your
good
words,
friends.
not mine.
These are just all really close friends. I mean, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, none of these guys are. And then Joe Volpus is back there. Look at Joe. We're not talking about Joe enough. Joe finished 7th today, and all he had to do was finish ahead of Novella, and now no new winner come into effect. Little contact there. But David, the car's still handling great, right? You didn't have you didn't use your fast repair. I don't believe, and the car was still handling pretty good here. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The only I had a 4X, and that was from I think a restart with Hunter Hall just didn't go, and I think I just bumped him and got a 4X from that. But other than that, car was clean the whole race, no damage.
Yep. And then just kind of cruising it out. We can go ahead and hit it a little bit faster. I want to see the fun parts. Eventually, Mata's going to fade a little bit. Michael with a great run. Again, Mata with the win this year. And Case of Beer, he's in that Dr. Pepper car underneath. At this point, Thornton up front pretty much checking out. Bollinger trying to keep it up tight as he could. But Eric, as we saw from that in-car, he just seemed to have all the answers today. Putting on that clinic, hitting his marks. He loves the track. Tony, you said that this was his favorite track. I think it's going to move up an even a higher notch after he gets to put another dub into his belt here. And they tried, and then here it is, a little fast forward, and you can see that gap just grows more and more. I think at this point, Colin knew he was in the playoffs and no need to wreck himself out.
The gap was huge at this point, Main Gene. Nearly, I think, about 2 seconds. Yeah, about a second. Yeah, about 2 seconds, actually. And yeah, I think Colin Bollinger definitely understand the big picture at this point in the race. It still was pretty crazy back over here. Have you ever seen those
Mhm.
videos of, like when there's just a bunch of people fighting and there's one guy in the background with his cell phone filming the whole thing? I think that was Vulpus during most of that. He was just like, you guys
Mhm.
do your whole thing. Maybe I'll make some money on YouTube.
All right, and it got fun too. You had the lap driver of Steve Lewis, Captain Crunch. He made his way into that group with y'all. Why not? Why not just add another integer into the equation? So again, and y'all were about 6 seconds back. So there's no way at that point, with 13 laps to go, that y'all were going to catch the leaders barring an accident up in the front. But this is where Tony got fun. This is where Tony, he added a little bit of commentary for us about the racing that you were doing back there, wanting Eric to win. And there it is, gliding the wall, coming home in third, getting that podium. But more importantly, David, that's securing you into the finals. Two of you guys, both of y'all, going to be battling for that championship next week in Las Vegas. And of course, Colin, it seems like it's been one of the three of you guys winning a lot of races. Oh, look.
Oh,
look.
jeez.
Oh,
Didn't
I
see
missed
that,
that.
Eugene.
Poor Louis. Louis gets ate up again.
I mean,
4 people died.
why not, I guess?
Well, I guess that's how you end a race. I guess his clone will be racing next weekend. Jeez, Louise.
We're like the fourth Sean Walton clone at this point.
Mm-hmm. Ports away.
I think that's why.
But next week, yeah. So next week, the two of y'all will be locked up in combat to get that championship win. You'll also have Colin Bollinger. Colin acquiring more points than anyone else throughout the playoffs. And then Joe Vulpus as well. Joe's still looking for that first win this year, but being one of the more consistent drivers, he's piloted his way into that championship 4. So you guys have been teammates all year. You've been looking out for each other's well-being. Last lap, side by side. Do the rules change a little bit?
No,
Maybe in a number of
Auto
ahead,
Club.
Tony.
Auto Club. We. I don't think either one of us had a win yet in the season. So obviously both of us wanted to block up into the playoffs at that point, and we had a clean run to the line, and I think I'd have ran Colin a clean run to the line at Michigan too, had things not went the way they did. So that's kind of the way I plan on approaching it. I don't want to win anything by off of my front bumpers. So
No, not at all. But I don't have one of these championships on Mondays. I got screwed out of one in season 2, so maybe an 11 on the side of that car. But I'll channel my inner Tony Stewart.
I actually would love to
How
hear that
about
from
this?
you, David. You're someone who you're so decorated in so many MRL leagues. What is like the one that you would love to win? Like, or if there is one even, like what to you is like your kind of crown jewel from this point on?
Sunday morning Bonfire Cup.
Oh, I mean, well, that's David Medina, so that's a whole different thing, isn't it, Eugene?
Yes,
Yeah.
but it's
He got
one
3.
that
You got to
I'm-
get that guy.
that's the one of the tougher ones to win. Now I won't say Medina's not beatable. I got a championship against Medina in another league on a Friday Night Thunder series that I ran with a bunch of guys, but that Colin and them came from. I do have a championship with Race and Medina in the same season, so I
That's
have
possible.
that. But Sunday, it's definitely possible. But being on a Sunday morning where I started my league, my first league ever was Bonfire Racing League, so to be able to get a championship there is the ultimate goal.
Hey, and there's only one place you can find that, and it's this network right here.
Absolutely.
I love it. Okay, so how about this, David? Tony's on the inside on a restart.
Oh god.
You're in this. He's on the front row, inside lane. You're on the outside of row 2. Do you cut down and get behind him and push him, or do you stay on that outside looking for the dub?
Starting the pot, guys.
We're going for the win. We're going for the win.
Same question, Tony. Falling behind your teammate, pushing to a championship, you stay on the outside. That's clean. That's not front bumper. That's clean.
Wow.
Look at Tony. Look at Tony.
You killed Tony.
I killed Tony again.
You killed.
Oh wait, Tony just sent me a text. He said, "Oh, I go low and door him in the wall." Cool. Yeah.
Just say it out loud, dude. Jeez.
Yeah. You don't have to say that. Maybe suffering from a concussion after that kill Tony moment
At the very
that
least.
he had earlier.
At the very least.
Yeah. No doubt. Well, guys, thank you so much. Oh, and what do you think, Zach? Think we should bring up that last little thing these two guys have in common?
I'm sorry, I just realized I was muted, you guys. My bad.
Well, no, you were texting
What
me the
a
whole time.
lie. Oh
You were
my
texting
gosh.
me. Oh, if I could show you all these texts,
I could summarize my answer though. I
I'm
said,
gonna hit him so hard the
want-
number's gonna fall off. That's what I got.
I said, this is a quick like 1-2 sentence summary. I said, I'm gonna do whatever I got to do to win, except be dirty, and I want to win because I'm faster, and yeah, that's the goal.
All right. That's a good answer. We'll let that slide for now. All right, Zach, what do you think? One more order of business for these two boys.
Yeah. What do they have in common besides just being guys with awesome good?
I don't know. Let's see it. Let's show it to them. They can see it.
Oh, is that the racing for a championship 4?
Well, no. The other thing, right? Those two, Buddy and Eric. All
Oh
together.
my goodness, I am so stupid. Congratulations, my friends. You guys are team champions.
Yeah,
This
adding
was
up the
going
points,
in.
I think it's pretty much in.
Only got worse today. Yeah, what I mean, we called this on race preseason. I think we did the preseason broadcast, me and Gene. We're like, this team is to be a force to be reckoned with, and you guys were. So take me through this team, and I guess what's the outlook next year too?
The news is new to me with David not running full time next season. So, I mean, I can't remember exactly how the format goes. I think it's like you enter in a certain amount and then like your best 3 or something like that. I don't know.
It's like an average, yeah. It's.
I can't,
I'm gonna vote
know.
for a more non-complicated point system next season. But I think that is what it is. I think that's how we end up with the decimal points. It's an average. I'm almost positive. And correct me if I'm wrong there, David.
Yep, I'll pull it up and look at it now to see what they have it as.
But even if it is an average, that difference was like also look below that. Wise Guy and East Coast Alliance actually switched going into this race. East Coast Alliance had really had control of second place all season, and if you look below that too, to 2X Racing, that's a team with Jack Sanders, Kevin Kyle, and I believe a few other very talented drivers, and then DDI Motorsports with Hillman and Hunter Hall, all very, very close. So if High Side Hustlers didn't exist, this would be unbelievably close. But also, I guess with Owens going part-time next year, that kind of opens it wide open too. So interesting right there, but very, very competitive team standings as a whole this season.
Yeah, it's a team points for an average of all team drivers.
All team
So
drivers.
Yeah.
That's
so-
interesting. So that could be like better or worse based on how many people show up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. From what I'm looking at it, like, we had across the top 3 had 57 starts, 56 and 57 starts. So the top 3 right there at starts as well. So it came down to consistency. It looks like we were the only team that had double-digit top 5 average.
Wow. And then I guess also when the part-timer show up is like, it's a 4-car team, correct? So it's solely Thornton and you two.
Correct.
Which is an, like on paper, just disgustingly talented team. But yeah, even when we solely not able to show up as much as I think he would have liked as the defending champion this year, but when he did, he certainly made a count. And I think that also can go to show with, again, yeah, all drivers average, that certainly never hurt when that 21 car showed up.
Not at all.
What a season, me and Gene from High Side Hustlers, and we called it. We knew that would happen. We called them the what was it, like the Dark Alliance, something else?
Yeah, I called them the Axis of Evil.
Yeah, the Axis of Evil, and that's what all my friends called them too. Like they forget that. They're like, oh, who's that one guy? I'm like, who? Like Axis of Evil. That's what people associate this team with. The black and red does not help, my friends.
You got the black and red, but hell of a year regardless. You know, still a battle going on down below you. You could see East Coast Alliance, Wise Guy Racing, 2X still pretty close. DDI, if they can not die. No. DDI right now standing for Didn't Die Industries.
Did die
that hard hit
immediately.
there.
Motorsports.
Didn't die immediately. Woo. Yeah. And MC, I guess that stands for might charge. They might charge there at the end to get in. But all those guys still pretty close. But up at the top, you guys, hell of a great year. It's 2 part-time drivers, but both of them, every time they showed up, had great days. David, you got, first take care of business, got that race next week. And then after that, take some time off and figure out exactly how it's going to work next year. And then, Tony, you'll have to figure out your new teammate. There's plenty of fast guys out there. You just have to figure out which one's going to fit into the axis properly.
Yeah, I'll still be here. Yeah, I'll still be here to race. It's just it's going to go more part-time. It's with the time slot, it's a little bit later. I had already committed and told Tony I'd race this season. We teamed up, and I'd already committed to telling Beverly Vulpus, yeah, I'll run the season. So I was not going to bail out on them and Tony as a teammate. So I wanted to make sure I at least completed the season, and just like I said, there'll be races that show up, and the part time it may just be, hey, I miss, instead of a race or 2, I might miss 3 or 4 races. So there's no telling. It's just going to come down to feelings.
I think it's also kind of like this year too, Mean Gene. Like Buddy Sully, we know is fully committed to being full time next year, fully healed from that shoulder surgery. So kind of the same thing. So High Side Hustlers, I think, going to be a force to be reckoned with. Same, just like they were this season, next season.
Yeah, you get Sully and Thornton running more of a full time. That's a couple of championship caliber drivers. Thornton, he's won as many and put up as many points as anybody in the playoffs, and Buddy Sully, of course, the season 3 champion. So add those guys into the mix with the Tony Iverson. Hell, I could drive in that 4th seat, and y'all could still compete for a championship next year. Boys, congratulations early on your, I'd say you, Zach, but you just won a truck championship, so that would just make it worse.
I don't like black and red cars, Mean Gene. They're bad luck for me.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I know Jerry's Mean Gene's a gambler here, right?
Oh, yeah.
You like the odds, right? It's a 50% chance that High Side Hustlers wins the driver championship too.
Oh, I think it's going to be very exciting. I think that 8 wheels are better than 4. I think that was something that was said at North Wilkesboro here recently.
Oh my god.
So having the 8 wheels is going to help y'all, but let's face it, Joe Vulpus led a lot of laps there, and Colin Bollinger has an I rating that's so high it's kept him out of leagues. So it's going to be fun to watch. The 4 dudes that are battling at the end are the 4 guys that ought to be there. That's what I'm going to say, and I cannot wait to see exactly how it unfolds. I just hope, just like you guys, for some green flag racing, and it would be really nice to see who can pull off those cleanest pit stop as well and make that part of the equation as far as who is going to end up being the champion here this year in season 4. Just stoked. It's been a hell of a year, highs and lows. We've had big fields, we've had crashes, and now it all will come to culmination in Vegas, where we might have to play a little bit of the old craps. Might have to hit the roulette table, maybe a little blackjack.
Just make it.
I don't want the guy sitting at the end though that keeps getting hits. You know what I'm talking about? That last guy at the table, and he takes a hit when you got the dealer showing 15, and he gets rid of the 10. Hate that guy.
I hate that guy. Usually you kick him out or beat him up before
you do.
It gets
You're like,
too bad. Yeah.
Brah.
Dude.
Yeah.
He's like, a 16? What do I do here? Oh, it's a 16. Should I hit? I guess I'll hit.
Yeah, and then he hits, and the dealer over there with a 15 showing, he gets a hit, and it turns out to be a 6. And you're like, thanks, bro.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah. I'm gonna move tables for absolutely no reason.
Clearly, neither of us have ever been here before. We've never dealt with this before.
Hey, I'll tell you what. You know what? I think Thornton's gonna be that last guy at the table, the blackjack table. He's gonna be the one taking that 10 on all of y'all. Yeah. He's gonna be trying his best to make it a Ryan Blaney championship.
Oh, 100%. He's gonna split those 5s. He's going to be crazy, and that's honestly why you have teammates a lot of the time, especially ones that are as quick as Thornton. Thornton, like we said, likely will be full-time next year, and will be racing for a championship if he continues to do what he did here today. So he has to think about that, but at the same time, your teammates, that's what these are long seasons, Mean Gene. We've been here for a few months now, and it all comes down to this one race. So you're going to do what it takes, and you're going to do what it takes for your teammates.
Yep, both those guys. Well, gentlemen, congratulations again on your team championship, and congratulations on making it to the Final Four. We'll see both of you guys at Vegas next week. Thanks, fellas.
Thank you for joining us, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Yep, look at that. Oh, and look at that. They're going to get in the same car together, too, Zach. I guess they really
always
are buddies.
do. And they
they do.
They turn around the corner. They always stop the car. I don't know why. I don't know what goes on there, but
probably getting in different car. Oh, yeah, look at the Ubers. Look at the Ubers. Anyway, that's going to wrap us up, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today on Inside the Mayhem. Always our pleasure to bring you the recap of what happened, and looking forward to next week. Of course, next week, Las Vegas. It's championship weekend, as the Final Four drivers will do battle, and that will be Colin Bollinger representing Mo Power Sports in his number 53 Toyota. It's going to be David Owens in the number 11 Ford, as he tries to put Highside Hustlers on top. He's got a teammate there, Tony Iverson, in that number 13 Gravedigger car. And then Joe Volpus representing East Coast Alliance. Joe, so many Final Fours. He is ready to put his name on a trophy this Monday when we go to Las Vegas for that Season 4 championship. Zach, it has been a blast as always, my man, but it is time to call it an evening. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of myself, Mean Gene Money, my partner, Zach Panzarella, our sponsors, Chantilly Lace, DDI, KK Woodwork, the Production Truck Boys, big shout out to the admins of this league, Steve Fugay, John Beverly, David Owens, Zach Panzarella, Joe Volpus. It has been our pleasure. Join us next Sunday on MRL for the championship in Las Vegas. And as always, folks, bottoms up and hammer down.